And as you're standing, just start to tune in and feel how you are today, how you're taking the weight on your feet. And notice where you're looking. If you look straight ahead of yourself or if you're looking a little bit to one side. And have a sense, you know how we talked yesterday about the kinesphere and the 360 degrees around you. Just notice how that is for you today. Are you more aware of what's directly in front of you, or do you also have an awareness of what's around you? And then start walking around the room. And as you walk, just sense how your shoulders are moving, how you're taking the weight on your legs. And after having done 2 days of ATMs, just notice what effect that's had on you. Are you experiencing the changes carrying over to the morning? And how are you breathing? So are you aware of your breath as you walk? And I've got the sense that, as I mentioned the breath, that there was a change in pace in the room. So are you able to walk and notice how you're breathing, or does your attention go to your breath and somehow affect how you're walking? And continue to mill around. And again, what I want you to do is to be aware of your eyes. And as you walk, observe if you take in one side of the room more than the other. So I know when I was doing the Feldenkrais training, I had an FI, and when I finished it, I was amazed there was a right side of the room. So just sense for yourself where you look, and then every so often as you walk, just turn in one direction and change where you're walking, and play a little bit with turning one way and the other. And notice if your eyes lead the movement. And is it easier for you to turn in one direction than the other direction? And then make your way to your place on the floor and just stand before you lie down. And what I want you to do when you're in standing, again, just turn maybe once to the left and once to the right, and feel how you do that. So it's a general instruction to see if you turn one way more readily than the other. And when you've done that, you can have a lie down. Now I'll just organise the lights. I'm not quite, is that all right for everyone? Oh, hang on. I'm not quite sure which ones, so that's it. Okay. Are the backlights okay for people? Okay. Oh, okay. Over here? Okay. So now, as you're lying there, just take your attention inward and feel how your body is contouring with the floor. And notice what areas give themselves fully to the floor, and what areas you'd like to have maybe more supported. And where does your attention go to? Does it go to a certain part of your body? And then notice the two sides of your body, the left and the right side. And feel if one side is pressing more into the floor than the other side. and if one side is possibly feeling longer than the other. And as you lie there, are you aware of your breath? Or is it in the background of your attention? And now what I'd like you to do is to bend your knees and bring your feet to the floor. And you're going to cross your left leg over your right leg. So it's as much as is comfortable. So it's a bit like, you're sitting down maybe on a chair and you've got your legs crossed. And now you're going to slowly start to tilt your legs over toward the left. And just notice how far you choose to start the movement. Do you start with a relatively large movement? Or do you take the opportunity to explore the movement, to start from a smaller beginning, from which you can expand upon? And just continue to tilt the legs over toward the left. And feel how that movement travels up through your body. What is it that comes to your attention? Do you feel a weight shift on your feet? Do you notice something happening in the pelvis or in the ribs? And I wasn't specific of where to put your hands. So what have you chosen to do with your hands? So most people have got their hands down by their side. Some people have got their hands up above their head. And there's a bit of variety of how the arms and hands are placed. So for the purpose of the lesson, what I'd like you to do is to have the arms down by your side and notice how your palms are facing. Have you got the palms facing downward as you do the movement, or do the palms face upward? And gradually expand upon the movement, but in a way that's easy and enjoyable. And how far could you allow the legs to move to the left and stay there? So if I ask you now to move your legs to the left and stay there, how far do you go where you can stay in that position for a period of time? So some people have got their legs a long way over. And I think the majority have only got their legs maybe 15 or 20 degrees. So just see what's comfortable for you. And then come back to the middle and have a brief pause. And we're going to come into that position throughout the lesson. So now continue, if you've uncrossed your legs, cross them again, and continue to do the movement and see how far you go and notice what is limiting you, what is stopping you from going further. So that doesn't mean that you have to, push through the movement, but just observe what stops you. And notice your right arm. So if you think our intention in the movement is to tilt the legs to the left, but because of the instruction, your right arm is behind you. So if you think the right arm, in a sense, its position is contradictory to the intention of being able to tilt your legs over to the left as far as possible in an easy fashion. So now what I'd like you to do is to continue taking your legs to the left, but explore the right arm and what would happen if you allowed the right arm to move. How does that enable the legs to tilt? So you could, in a sense, have the right arm purely as a passenger, that it's a point in the movement when the legs tilt, the arm gets carried along with the movement. Or it could be that you start exploring how the right arm could move across you to allow the legs to tilt further. And then find a way to bring the right arm over your body so that you can gradually come to lying on your left side. And then you can just pause on your side. And now bring your right arm up toward the ceiling. So the hand's in the air and the arm is up toward the ceiling. So it's always a thing of relationship. And in that position, you're going to now move the arm in an arc behind you. And as you move the arm in an arc in a backward direction, feel what effect that has lower down your body. And you can notice, I didn't specify what to do with your head. So notice if you keep your head still or if you allow your head to join the movement. And as you do the movement, what happens to the knees? And so there'll be a point in the movement where the knees start to come away from the floor. So what I want you to do is just to find that place, but you're not going to go beyond it. So if you're comfortable, your legs are still in that cross-legged position, and you're moving your arm backward, and you're finding how far does the arm move backward before the knees want to come away from the floor. And the idea is that you're going to keep your knees on the floor, but you're just going to find that boundary, in a sense, of where if you went any further, the knees would want to start moving away from the floor. And the arms moving up toward the ceiling and behind you. And then find a way to return to your back and uncross your legs and bring your arms down by your side and take a rest lying on your back. And just sense the effect those movements have had on your system and on how you're lying. So the effect can be in many ways, and you could just notice, again, the two sides of your body and if they're feeling more even, less even, if you've got more contact with the floor. And once more, come back to having your knees bent and cross your legs over. And now purely take your legs over toward the left and feel if that is any different. So just tilting your legs over toward your left, and your right leg is crossed over the left. Oh, sorry, have I muddled you up? Left over right. It's the same pattern as you had your legs done before. So for the whole lesson, your legs are going to be in the same crossing. Okay. And continue tilting your legs toward the left and go as far as is comfortable. And then find a place where you could pause with your legs inclined toward the left. And you're going to still be predominantly on your back, so you're not going to roll over the whole way, but your legs are inclined to the left. And then in that position, what I want you to do is your left hand, the palm is going to be facing down toward the floor, and you're going to move the left hand along the floor up towards your head. So you go, and the palm stays down toward the floor. So the left hand is sliding along the floor with the palm facing downward. And slowly explore that movement. So the left hand is just lightly and easily sliding along the floor. And as you do the movement, be aware of how are you looking at your hand. Is your hand still facing up toward the ceiling? And then start to look at your hand as it slides upward. The palm is facing downward, and the hand sliding in the direction of your head. So the palm is sliding against the floor, and your back of the hand is up toward the ceiling. So feel the palm against the floor, and continue the movement and have the idea of how the arm could continue to slide up towards your head as you watch it, and it may even be that the arm could come underneath your head as you lift the head away from the floor. Yep, the palm is always down. And remember, it's not about getting there, it's about exploring the movement. And this lesson has got a lot of different variations of movement to it. So, just do as much as is comfortable for you, and it's more important that you sense how things coordinate, how far is comfortable for you. And later in the lesson there's a whole section on breathing, but I think now you can also sense your breath and have the idea of using your breath as a quality control. So if you're starting to hold your breath, or if you're breathing too vigorously, it might indicate that you're doing too much. And just explore that as much as you feel like for now. And when you've done that, pause and come back onto your backs and take a rest on your back. And just observe how you're lying. Take the opportunity to pause. Because it's only going to be a brief pause, because now you're coming back to having your legs crossed in that same configuration. And a few times just tilt your legs over to the left and feel how that's going. Are you aware to different parts of yourself as you do the movement? At different areas? Have they been awakened by the variations so that they're now coming along as the legs tilt to the left? And once again, leave your legs somewhere over toward the left. And then I'd like you to start to move your right hand to your left leg and toward the left knee. So your right hand comes up onto the left leg, and you're exploring how the hand can reach toward the left knee. And how are you using your arm? How much pressure do you put in the arm? And your legs are staying in the same position, so you're not rolling any further to the side. Your legs are a little bit inclined toward the left, and you're just sliding the hand on the leg toward the right knee. Left knee, sorry. And continue to do that, and notice how that's affecting your breathing. And make it elegant and easy. And so in this lesson, Moshe talks a lot about the breath. And when I read it, I thought, his languaging is interesting, because he talks about being alive and not breathing, which in a sense is a contradiction, because we all have to breathe. But I guess it's that quality of breath that it's natural and spontaneous. That you're not holding the breath, you're not working too hard with your breathing. So just notice as you do that movement, if it affects your breathing. And then come back onto your backs and just uncross your legs and take a rest. And this time as you're resting, just notice what's happening within you in regards to your breath. So is it possible to observe your breathing without changing what you do. Or as you think about it, is there a change in how you breathe? Does your attention possibly go to a part of your body? Because if you think of breathing, there's lots of things that we can attend to. We could attend to the air going in through our nose, through the nostrils, or through the mouth. You could focus on what's happening in the chest, in the abdomen. But see if you can allow the breath to occur in an automatic, easy fashion so that you're not affecting it. And it was interesting when I come by public transport, so I was thinking about the lesson today and I was looking at people in the train and seeing how they were breathing, and some people you could really see that their chests were moving, or other people there wasn't any movement. But they were all, in my opinion, too busy on their phones or staring out of the window, that the breathing was just going on out of their awareness. And so now come back to having your knees bent and crossing your legs over in that same pattern. And this time, bring your arms up toward the ceiling and your palms are together. So the arms are away from the floor, so the hands are pointing up toward the ceiling. They're not overhead on the floor, they're above your body up toward the ceiling. And your palms are together like you're clapping. Okay. So with the next group of movements, the idea is that the palms stay together. So if it's comfortable, don't have your hands interlaced. Just have you really want to feel palm on palm. And you're going to keep the integrity of that triangle. So there's no sliding of the hands. And the restriction is that you're also not going to bend the elbows. So in that configuration, you're now going to move your legs and the hands as if they're linked by a stick. You're going to move them together toward the left. And can you stay in control, or do you just go clunk onto your side? So continue doing that movement and feel, is there a desire to go onto the side? Or can you move the arms and the legs together to the point where you still have balance? So you don't at this point particularly want to lose balance and just go flop onto your side. You want to just find how the legs and the arms can move together so that you have a control of the movement and so that you can reverse it. So everything is moving together, and you could also just go slowly, observe if the movement's affecting your breathing. And another image that Moshe uses in this lesson is the idea that you're holding a pane of glass. So there's a pane of glass between your hand that rests on your knees. And you don't want that glass to fall or to break, so everything has to move together. And then leave it, uncross your legs and take a rest. And again, just feel how your body's contouring with the floor. And once again, come into that same configuration with your legs crossed and your arms making that triangular shape above your head, up toward the ceiling. And now what you're going to do, you're going to move your legs to the left and move your eyes to the left. So you're going to coordinate the movement of the legs with the eyes, or the eyes with the legs. So your eyes have to move with the legs left. The head, well, notice what the head does. So at the moment the intention is to just follow the leg movement with the eyes, and the head will do what it does. So you may feel that the head has to be involved in the movement and that it rolls toward the left. But it's not intentionally, so you're not intentionally rolling the head toward the left, but it may move a little as a consequence of the eyes moving toward the left. So it's a little bit like what I was saying about the breathing. You're not intentionally breathing, you're allowing the breath to occur. And just notice as you do the movement if there's an awareness of your breath, and if you feel as if you're doing anything intentionally with it. And now continue the movement. And as this time you're going to continue the movement, but the arms are going to move to the left. So everything moves to the left and then back to the middle. And just do that a few times and then take a rest. And then just let it go and pause. So the other thing I was contemplating with breathing and how we breathe, and I know there's certain, I think in yoga, there's certain different techniques in breathing. If you think of, in Feldenkrais, having the idea that breathing is functional. So again, thinking of my journey in today, I have to swap trains, and I knew I had to get to the platform quickly. So as I increased my pace, I didn't quite get to running, but as I walked more quickly, my breath came along with me so that I could do that activity. And then towards the end of my journey, I was sitting on the train and it was very warm and I was starting to get a bit drowsy. And again, my breath changed with the activity or the sedentary aspect of, not dozing, but heading towards that. So as you lie there again, just feel how you're breathing. And if you feel that you're holding your breath or that you're very trying to change it and breathe in a certain way, just swallow a few times. Just swallow your saliva, and see what effect that has on your breathing. And now return to, again, having your legs crossed and having your arms in that triangle up toward the ceiling. And keep on tilting the legs, arms and eyes to the left. And feel the coordination between all of those parts. And notice as the head rolls towards the left, notice how the back of your head, in a sense, moves toward the right. So then what you're going to explore is you're going to continue to roll your head to the left, but at some point in the movement you're going to slide the back of the head backward. So it's a bit of a funny instruction. So you're going to, the head keeps rolling, but something else happens in the neck and the back so that the back of the head is sliding toward the right or backward. So you could think of it that the throat is becoming longer and the neck is becoming shorter. So just see if you can make sense of that. And then pause somewhere towards your left and just explore the movement of the head. So you're over toward the left and you're thinking of how can you move the head so the back of the head moves toward the right. So this is something really, it's a spatial thing. Where is the right when your head is turned to the left? So you're facing to the left and you have to think of the back of your head moving toward the right. So you might feel that in that your chin comes away from your chest and the head slides backward. And you might have the sense that there's more of an arching in the upper back. Could be another clue to find the movement. And then continue, take your knees back to the middle and continue taking everything over to the left and incorporate that movement of sliding the head in that backward direction. And you could also allow your arms to be affected by the movement of the head. So you might feel that the arms are then sort of moving away from your torso a bit and in the direction of your head. And to do this movement of the head, you need to engage your back. So feel what happens with your pelvis. So as the head slides back, does the pelvis also move backward? So it's like an arching movement. Can you involve the pelvis by moving the pelvis backward as the head rolls back or slides backward? And you'll feel as you do that how the legs, they move away from the hands. And then just find a way to come onto your left side and just lie on your left side with your legs crossed. And just and have your arms in that triangle position. And just staying on your side, what I want you to do is to explore that movement of the head and the pelvis, just slowly. And the arms will come along, and the legs, the limbs will come along for the ride. But you're going to take both the head and pelvis in a backward direction. So you can think of it that the front of your body is going to lengthen, and the back side of your body is going to shorten. So your bottom and your head are going to come closer towards each other. And it doesn't need to be a large movement, but it's that sort of movement that when we come back to tilting the legs, that you're going to involve in the movement. And then find a way to return using that movement onto your back, and just do a few more movements going onto your side and incorporating. Now I think that you have a clearer understanding of what the head and the pelvis are doing, of how you can incorporate that movement as you tilt your legs over toward the left. And sense that connection between the head moving, and by the head moving in this way, does that give you greater control of going further toward the left? So there's something about the thing of taking the head backward and allowing the arms to follow in that direction that will enable you possibly to move a little bit more toward the left. And the next time you return onto your back, just let it all go, uncross your legs and take a pause. And again, you can take the opportunity to feel how it is you're lying. And forget about how you're breathing. And just let that happen naturally. Now bring your arms back up toward the ceiling and cross your legs over once more. And this time you're just going to move your arms. So we've got a variation. So the legs are crossed, the arms are in the triangular shape up toward the ceiling. But this time you're just going to move the arms to your right. So move your arms to your right. So change of direction, the arms are moving toward the right. And notice, remember to keep the elbows straight. So it might not be a very large movement. And again in this lesson, you know, the arms are in that position strategically, in that by keeping the elbows straight, there's something else that's going to have to move in your body to enable the arms to go to the right. So you don't need, it doesn't mean that the arms have to move a long way. They might only move a short distance of space, a few centimetres even. You know, it's more imperative, I was going to say, that the elbows are straight than how far the arms move in that direction. And now continue to move the arms to the right and move your eyes to the left. So how do you do that? How can the arms continue to move to the right as the eyes move to the left? So what does your head do? Do you roll your head in the direction of the eyes, or does the head still move with the arms to the right, but the eyes move toward the left? So a lot of people, I think, are now, maybe explore both. Continue to move the arms to the right and allow the head and the eyes to move to the left and feel what that feels like. Because a lot of you are doing that. And then if you can, find how the arms can move to the right and the eyes move to the left without rolling the head to the left. So the head might stay just still in the middle, or you might find that it follows to the right as the eyes move to the left. And how does that affect the movement of the arms? And then leave it and allow the head and the arms to move together toward the right and see how that is. And then just bring your arm, next time you're on your back, bring your arms down by your side and just do a few movements of tilting, of letting the legs go long. I think you all want to rest. Just let them go long and take a rest. And then bend your knees once more and cross over your legs. And this time we're going to change what we do with the hands. So this time you're going to embrace yourself so that the left hand goes underneath your right armpit and it's if possible, you're going to hold on to the right shoulder blade. And then the right hand is going to cross over your chest toward the left and toward the left shoulder blade. Now slowly roll your chest and shoulder blade left and right. So your legs are staying relatively still. There's no intention of moving the legs or the pelvis, but you're just going to roll the top half left and right, and you can feel how your elbows move in space. They move a little bit to the left and to the right. And you can, maybe as the hands are toward your shoulder blade, you can use them to assist you with the movement. And remember, do it lightly. So just see how one shoulder comes forward and then the other, and how you can roll left and right. And make it easy. And there might be a little bit of resonating lower down the body of the movement. But there's no intention of moving the pelvis or the legs. It's just that these elbows are moving left and right like a pendulum. And then see what happens if you increase the movement. Both, I'm thinking not only expand upon the size of the movement, but the speed. How can you go a little bit faster? But remember, your pelvis stays silent. Or if the pelvis moves, it moves as a passenger. It might move a little bit from side to side, but you're not doing anything intentionally with the pelvis. So just be playful, go a little bit quicker, and as you go quickly, how can you do that easily? And just go left and right. And move the head and eyes with the shoulders. So the pelvis remaining still, and the head and the eyes are now moving with the shoulders. And you're finding a faster pace that you can maintain. And if you think of a pendulum, you can make it go quicker, and then you can slow it down and make it go slow. So why don't you just make it go quickly a little bit and then slow it down until it comes to rest. Okay. And then pause on your backs. And we're going to come back into that same position, but take a pause. So there's been lots of different variations throughout the lesson, and we're just going to explore another one. And so this time come back into the same position with your arms, but change the crossing over of the arms. So that means, and bend your knees and cross your legs over. Now this time, what you're going to do is, you're going to move your head in the opposite direction of the arms. So, as, say, the right shoulder comes forward, the head is going to move to the right. And as the left shoulder comes forward, the head is going to move toward the left. And remember, the pelvis still is remaining quiet, and you're moving the head and the shoulder in opposite directions. And feel where the eyes move. And again, when you've got that movement, you can also explore the pace of the movement. You can go slowly, and then you can start to go quicker. And always, go within, I don't think I need to say it, I think you all know, just go where you're comfortable. And feel the eyes and the head moving together, opposite toward the shoulders. So now, what you're going to do, you're going to keep moving, but there's going to be a difference in what you do with your eyes. So now what I'd like you to explore is how can you move the eyes in the same direction as the elbows as the head is moving in the opposite direction. So you're keeping to do the same movement of the head and the shoulders in opposites, but your eyes are as if they were connected. Maybe, I think I've got that image of, like a laser beam or something that connects your eyes to the elbows. So as the elbows move, the eyes follow the elbows as the head rolls in the opposite direction. And just play with it. And then uncross everything, including your eyes, and lie with your legs long and your arms down by your side. So now we're just going to, before we finish the lesson, is revisit the movement of everything going toward the left. So come back to having your legs crossed, but this time bring your arms in that triangular shape up toward the ceiling. And before you move, think through the movement and of all that you've learnt and how you can bring that into the movement, and start to tilt everything toward the left, as if you had that pane of glass that's resting on your knee, between your hands and on your head. And you're wanting to move that pane of glass onto the left side without anything happening to the glass. So you have to see how you can organise yourself to move so that pane of glass is safe, being supported by your knee between your hands and head. And just see how far you can take the movement. And remember what you did with the head moving backward and the pelvis, and how as the head moves back, the arms will also sort of move in response to the head, slightly upward. And just see slowly how you can continue the movement. And notice, watching people, there's a lot more control, and I think, that we could reverse the movement at different points. And then just do a few more movements and gradually bring it to a completion. And when you've finished, just uncross your legs and arms and rest on your side, on your back, sorry. And before we come up to sitting and standing, really allow yourself to feel how that lesson has affected how your back is being supported by the floor. Now what differences, what changes have occurred. And it'll be interesting how those changes are going to be carried over to when you're up in standing and walking around the room. So then when you're ready, just slowly roll over to one side and come up to sitting, and then come up to standing. And then as you're standing, notice, where are you looking? What parts of the room are you taking in? And then before you walk, just for yourself, turn to the left and to the right. And notice if that's different on one side to the other, if both sides have changed. And then you can start to walk around the room. And again, just observe as you're walking, where is your awareness? Are you focusing on yourself, or are you more aware of the people around you? Do you see the same aspects of the room, or does something new come into your vision? And every so often you might want to turn in one direction and the other. And then continue walking, and you might find your way over to have a cup of tea. And we'll just have a